Welcome to The Authentic Life with KL, the podcast where we throw out the rule book, where we dive in head first to the real and raw, unapologetic journey of living the best life. That includes lots of music. This is your go-to space for empowerment, for deep healing and owning your authenticity like the boss that you are. We're here to break down walls and slay self-doubt. Vibe to the soundtrack of your soul. With every beat and lyric, we'll move through stories that heal and empower. You can live your fullest and most badass life. Welcome to The Authentic Life with KL. This episode of The Authentic Life with KL is brought to you by Break the Silence, a nonprofit created using music as a platform to raise awareness for mental health, suicide prevention, and recovery of all kinds, offering hope and starting the hard conversations to bring communities together. Hey guys, it's Kitty, and today I have with me Ryan Patrick from Otherwise. Welcome in.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when I first heard Otherwise, this is my thing I have to say here. When I first heard Otherwise, I was broken. I was grieving. I was searching for anything that sounded like hope, and your music gave me something to hold on to. So today I get to sit down with you. Not just as a friend, not just as a fan, and actually as a host of a podcast who actually gets to do the same thing for other people, what you guys did for me. And I call it my full circle moment. See that?
Oh, very good. Yes,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I know my brother will be stoked to hear that. That's what we could have only hoped for. Didn't even realize the extent of how possible it would be is making or having our music be something that really helps people. And you know, when we burst out into the scene over a decade ago, we met a lot of people in the same kind of scenario as we were in that scenario.
Yeah.
We were the most broken we ever were as soon as our dreams came true. And we got to start touring and our song was number one. But you know, we could only hope that that's what the case was, you know. So it's good to hear that from you.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I the first time I saw you guys was in Dallas, and you guys, I couldn't even tell you who you were with. You might have been with My Darkest Days. With My Darkest Days.
Yeah, that was
Maybe at
fun.
trees, and I remember walking over to Adrian and Vasilios at the time, and they were just scrolling on like Facebook or something like that. And that was the first time I met, and very, very gracious. And of course, that was before I lost my brother. And then after I lost my brother, I was like, you guys, you get it. And so your music all across the board has been so impactful for me, as you know. But this is the way that I can give back, to everybody else and showing them the impact that music has had on me. So I appreciate that more than you guys know. So for those of you that don't know Otherwise and don't know of the Patrick brothers or Ryan Patrick, can you give a little bit of information to anyone who may not know who you are?
Yeah. I am a human and I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm a grateful son, brother, partner, boyfriend, friend, bandmate, business partner, you name it. I am trying my best to be the best version of myself all the time. And sometimes that can make me a very extreme person, you know, and I'm like two different sides of the same coin. So I'm just a six-string caveman trying to make good in the world and take care of the ones I love and also spread a positive message through music and to heal and empower myself and hopefully others along the way.
Yeah. And I think you do an amazing job of doing that. Do you do you have something that helps you get through the hard times? The world is often very dark and
Mhm.
everybody's always grasping for something to give them hope. What would that be for you?
So pure, so true, and so powerful is playing my guitar. It's literally playing my guitar, and I'm so thankful that even through all the ups and downs of our music career as recording artists, um, I've well maybe it's sometimes I've stepped away and I haven't played guitar as much, or things have influenced me to stay away from the guitar. But every time I'd come back to the guitar or have a guitar in my lap, I swear it's the greatest solace and meditation for me. So, that's what I tried to share with Life by Music too, is that if you could get into guitar for me, but whatever it is, I share the guitar, or try to at least, as a way of coping with and having solace and be empowered. But sometimes it's not even, it takes a lot of things, and
Yeah.
you've got to tighten up a lot of aspects of your life, in my opinion, simultaneously. From what you eat to what you watch to who you hang out with, to what you believe in, and keep checking in with yourself. And I think as I'm getting older, I'm being able to understand things that I don't like, and being able to kind of stay away from them a little bit more. There's still a lot of things that go on that frustrate me, and or make me question things, but I just keep forging on, and I make sure that I have my guitar by my side when I'm dealing with all
Yeah.
these trials and tribulations of life.
Yeah, I think being in touch with yourself is so important with it, because I found, and then I know other people too, is that we could say one thing gives you hope, but if you dive way too much into that one thing, it doesn't actually become healthy. You can
Oh,
do.
oh yeah, you can make anything a vice
Yeah,
and an addiction, even good stuff, But
very
hey,
much.
if you're gonna make something an addiction, make it something that's like positive. Why not, like, play music, go work out, paint, express yourself through
Yeah.
through an art form. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yep, I absolutely. And there's so many different mediums, that people use for it, but it is important. It's something that's missing so much, and that's what I love about Life by Music, is that you're throwing that out there to show people how important it is, because children starting at a very young age, we're not taught how to deal with life in general, let alone our emotions and things like that. So it is important to teach those mediums.
Hmm. Hmm. And to be able to help the parents too, and help people,
Yeah.
because a lot of kids go through things because their parents went through things,
That
and
generational, the gifts that keep giving.
yeah,
until you realize what they are. Um, is there a Can you pinpoint a moment in your life where you knew that you wanted to be a musician? Was there something specific that
yeah.
made you just realize this was it?
Um, well, when I was in eighth grade, I started playing guitar. My brother was playing guitar, and I swear, I don't know if there was an exact moment, but I definitely I declared it like an arrogant little eighth grader. People, yeah, my eighth grade teacher, Daisy Martin, was asking kids what they want to be when they grow up. And I'll never forget. I laugh. I'm like, man, you were a cocky little kid. But I stood up and I said, etched in stone, I will be a rock star. And like, I don't even think I could play a whole song at that point on the guitar. But I had there was a fire in me that had to prove that. So, that just chasing that dream of being a rock star uh, made sure that music was a non-negotiable. It had to be, life by music, you know. Uh, so, yeah, as, as soon as the guitar got in my lap, and I started to enjoy it, and things were made sense to me on it, it's like there was no other question of if there is anything else. And there's other stuff too that can be done and will be done, and business and ventures and goals that don't have to do with playing guitar, but you know my life will always have the guitar in it. So I don't even know. I think it was just as soon as I picked up the guitar, and then like a cocky little kid said what I said. So then I had to hold true to it in some form or
That's
another.
right. Everybody will remember that. So you have to make sure of that.
Yeah.
Um, So, one of my sayings that I stick with is sometimes a lyric can be a lifeline. That's something that we talk a lot about within the podcast and within the community that I teach. Is there a time in your life where lyric would have been your lifeline, where something musically would have been the most important thing to pull you through?
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's been in phases, different points of life had different lyric lines, when you have those songs that the soundtrack to your life that, at that time it's the song you listen to on repeat.
Yeah.
And thankfully I've had dozens, if not hundreds of those songs, in my lifetime so far, where it's just, man, this song is getting me through this time period in my life. And on top of that, on top of the amazing songs that other people have written and lyrics, we've had our own lyrics that have helped, and uh, soldiers was really important, to push on the words of that song mean a lot. My brother sometimes, and some ex bandmates and whatever prior bandmates, would get tired of playing the song Soldiers. I don't get tired of playing that song because those words reign true to me now, just as much, if not more, than when they did when we wrote them. And also, we have a song called "Won't Stop," and "My heart's broken, but it won't stop beating" is the chorus line, and that that was a great line that helped me come to terms with the fact that our cousin Ivan Patrick was not going to come back in this lifetime in this form, and that we are going to have to move forward. So it was time to write another song, and that lyric line came, and was really helped, So
Yeah, no, I could see that. I think, of course, that's something that I know. I say I hate that you guys had gone through that, but because you did go through that, you've reached so many, I think, so many of the community. And I know you know stories, but the people I've met, you know, the impact, of your healing and your grieving has absolutely impacted so many from your lyrics. So, um,
it's a
yeah,
lot of my brother's words, a lot of my brother's words. He's an amazing lyricist.
yeah,
So I would just come in here and there. And maybe as I've
yeah.
gotten older now, I've been able to, give more insight too. But man, my brother knows how to write some good lyrics.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a lyric person. I really love lyrics. I have a couple other friends and I'm like, "Oh, just write some lyrics. I love them." I think that when they can paint a story and help other people connect just like a book, I think
Mhm.
that it definitely helps people. It's kind of like a guided meditation. I do better with guided meditations than sitting quiet because it can paint this picture and my brain doesn't have to just sit there quietly. So I think that's what music is for me.
Yeah, right. So true.
Are you surprised that Otherwise has built the community that it has? I know a lot of bands, but I also know a lot of wise ones. And I know they are very faithful. You guys could literally put out a trash can lid bouncing around, and everybody would be like, yes, yes, it's the best. So, were you surprised about the community and kind of what has been built?
Yeah, absolutely. What a blessing it's been,
Yeah.
truly. We could hope that would happen, but also we had no idea that, as the years go on, and the fans and friends continue to be friends, and life continues to go on, and more memories are made, and there's all these connections that take place from these, essentially people who met at our shows, or found a common ground in loving the band. How to watch all those relationships to continue to blossom, that's awesome. It's
Yeah.
really cool. It is really, really cool, and it just goes to show how special it is to have, good people, and good people. Our music has been able to bring good people together, which is that's awesome. I don't know if we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, it's been really beautiful to watch the whole, I've been around since a little like for a while, so I've seen a lot of different transitions with everything and different people, but it just the energy and vibe of the band has always stayed somewhat tried and true. And I have some of my best friends, that I've met through you guys.
Yeah, I love that. We love that. The family
Yeah.
wise, the wise.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, let's talk about Life by Music.
Oh
I
yeah.
know there's a lot to talk about there, but it's important to me, one, to showcase that it is this nonprofit and everything that you do. Can you talk kind of about the beginning of it and where it came from?
Yeah, so Life by Music, it's like what came first? Otherwise came first, but
Yeah.
otherwise was living a life by music. My brother and I were living a life by music. And me from the eighth grade, I mean, man, I went to a music high school and I got the chance to live life by music even more so because I had a guitar in my hands every day of high school. And that really, really changed me, I'm sure, as a young teenager, my developmental years. And Life by Music has been a motto and a mantra for us, especially me. I would say it all the time, obnoxiously. I got it tattooed on me before it was, LBM, Life by Music. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Life by Music, and I suppose that we did, and we got to sign the record deals, and we were on the tour buses, doing the tours and doing the things, and being on the radio and doing some really cool stuff, and Life by Music was just growing. There was more to it than just being signed touring performers and party animals and just in the thick of the game that is the industry.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been a great opportunity of, okay, there's more, we want to do more than just this. How do we do it? We didn't necessarily know, but then, we made a T-shirt with Jesus on a dinosaur, on a Tyrannosaurus Rex playing. Jesus was shredding on the guitar, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex was jamming on the drums with his little arms, and it was Earth's jam band. And it was just a sense of, okay, how can we create something that shows how beautiful music is, how beautiful the connection of the song and the human and the heart and hearing and playing and performing. And before you knew it, we were the T-shirt inspired the concept of, hey, why don't you turn this into a 501c3 and create a nonprofit to do good? And I was like, oh, that sounds noble. That sounds altruistic. I want to do that, cool. So then we started, I'm like, man, this sounds great. This sounds like something more than just we're trying to get on the charts, and we're trying to get that tour, and oh, you got to sell this amount to be worthy. It was like, okay, well, yes, we'll keep playing in the league and try our best to, but there was also something more happening. And so it became a nonprofit, and we created, so far, now you fast forward years later, we have a board of directors, we have a operating budget, we've been given some tremendous grants, and all that goes to show that we've been able to donate over 500 instruments, over $15,000 in music scholarships. We've created these coloring and guitar booklets to start. Like, okay, Life by Music. Yes, it's a 501c3. You did it. You got the tax exemption status. Now what? I'm like, oh, well, okay, well, we're great with kids. Our mom and dad were great at teaching and taught in their respective careers, and it just made sense. Okay, let's get instruments to at-risk youth.
Mhm.
And so one day before our acoustic residency at Sunset Station, we worked with the local Boys and Girls Club to get a bunch of kids to come during the day, during sound check, into the room to learn how to play guitar and learn how to paint. They got to paint in these cool characters with our buddies Nick and Justin Giordano. And we had a handful of guitars, and we sat with the kids and we taught them how to play. And then essentially we took them to the buffet afterwards. They got to walk around, they got to see Life by Music. our Life by Music on stage. Oh, Otherwise is playing tonight. You guys are here. You're learning how to play guitar. You're painting a little bit. Then we went to the buffet. Boom, Life by Music was born. Where these kids got to experience something that was exciting and different, but also they learned something. They legitimately learned how to play an E minor chord on the guitar. And that led to creating a guitar booklet called Guitar Magic, which is a chord and coloring book. Maybe first of its kind. I don't know. We'd like to say that. I'm sure there's others out there, but we've gotten out over 1,000 of those Guitar Magic booklets into the hands of children since the birth of Life by Music, and so we're just pushing forward, and that's grown from Guitar Magic booklet to our Ukulele Magic booklet. I was at two elementary schools this morning. Excuse me, yeah, two elementary schools this morning, three different classrooms, about 75, 80 kids today got ukulele magics and got to play ukulele with us. Each kid got to come up and sit down with us and play, learn the characters, learn the virtues. In the booklet, each chord has its own animal and virtue. So that's how we teach it to the kids. Is there's the attitude alligator and the bravery bear and the compassionate cow and so forth. It goes all the way to the gratitude gorilla. And each of those chords has the corresponding letter chord. So the A chord is the attitude alligator, the B chord is the bravery bear. And so it's a very fun way to teach kids in a fun, different setting where you have these professional rockers come in and show you these chords, but also teach you these empowering virtues that you can take in your life as you grow. Like, learn about having a good attitude, learn about being brave in certain scenarios, learn about discipline and equality and friendship and gratitude while learning these chords. So that's been a big part of our youth outreach. And we've got a lot going on. So
That's all right. No, I love it. It's beautiful.
we have our teen outreach also for teenagers called Rockin' Guitar. And that's a course that essentially teaches kids how to learn the art of the jam, teenagers, how to pick up a guitar and be able to strum and be able to play along. And there are these prompts at the end of each lesson to, just ask kids, to get them thinking about things in their life that, hey, why not write about what you could be, or how to get through things, or make them think. We've spent a lot of time on these prompts each lesson, and so Rockin' Guitar is a really great course. We actually just finished up our fifth cohort today with a high school out here called Mission High School, which is a recovery school for teenagers. And I've been going there every week, once a week, and working with those kids. And they're good kids. They're really good kids, and it's really, sometimes it's challenging. I think all kids these days, it's pretty challenging to keep their attention. I mean, when I was a kid, it was hard to keep my attention.
Yeah.
I know that as long as I'm there and we're strumming and we're exposing the sound and the opportunity to play to these kids, whether they go home and practice or not, we still show up and play with them. And we're able to push on with this Rockin' Guitar course for teens. And there's a lot of organizations and companies that believe in the mission, and they're helping fund these courses to where we can pay assistants to come and work with me or do the classes on their own, is what we're leading to where we can fund these artists to go and teach music. And right now, primarily, it's me going and teaching these classes, but we have this beautiful manual that we created. Dino helped us create this manual. I don't have a copy of it in here. I probably have one in my car, but it goes through. It's this beautiful booklet, and that leads into. We also have a course for veterans that we started called Shoulder to Shoulder. And the fundamentals of the Rockin' Guitar course and the Shoulder to Shoulder course are very similar, because it gets you strumming on the guitar the same way I did, same way a lot of us did. A lot of us rockers were just jamming chords to songs we loved, or taking a chord and just playing it and being affected by what it feels like to make the sound of a chord on a guitar, like the actual vibrations of a chord. It's very therapeutic and empowering. And so we've been able to now grow our outreach to veterans as well. And yesterday, no, Wednesday, Tuesday, so a few days ago now, depending on when this airs, we were able to start our third cohort of the Shoulder to Shoulder music program,
Mm.
which is guitar playing and songwriting. And yeah, that's growing also, and that's powered by Aristocrat Gaming. We've got some really cool people who believe in the foundation right now, and are giving us a shot at being very legitimate. Being a known staple, not only in Las Vegas, but further and further, and more kids, more veterans, more towns, more schools, more
Yeah.
programs, other organizations. We find a lot of success working with other 501c3s, and it's really great. It's really a beautiful blessing and dharma that I feel I have to
Yeah.
follow through with.
Yeah, it's all very, well, it's very impactful across the board on the children, teenagers, and the veterans. The veterans, I have a small group that I work within the community, and the need there has been very overlooked, I think. I know several Marines, several veterans who have lost so many people and struggle significantly. So the fact that you guys take time out to make sure that they have something to put all that energy, whatever it may be, that they're dealing with, into something that's therapeutic and create something beautiful, if or something, absolutely loud and crazy if that's what they need. But that's so important.
And what we're finding out more and more as we do more outreach is that it's creating a community for the veterans who come. And it's not necessarily about, oh, play guitar and be affected by the guitar the way guitar affected me. It's not. I'm learning more and more that it's less and less about that. I'll continue to experience this beauty that is playing music, and what my expression is of how I show my love for music through Life by Music. But for other people that come up through our courses, or just pick up an instrument, sometimes it's just sitting with somebody else is the best thing about it,
Yeah, you're
or
creating a safe space
catching
for
up
people.
after the class. Yeah, it's really, it's special. And you asked earlier if I had any idea that's about our fans and friends. That's another thing that's a beautiful surprise about creating a community through shoulder to shoulder for the veterans to rock out and play some music and get together in a safe place.
Yeah, that's exactly, you're creating that safe space for people to just be. There's not really expectations. They can just come and just be. And I think that's holy. If there's anything that people would consider, that I would consider, that is a holy thing, or something that's just so spiritual that there's nothing else like it, I think that that space that's held open for other people to just be is very much sacred or holy. So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So what all do you guys have coming up as far as otherwise, and also Life by Music?
Yeah. Otherwise, has a tour coming up in June. We got a nice little, quick little run, the permanent vacation tour, and I'll drop it here on your podcast. We have a new song to follow that tour called "Permanent Vacation" that we will be dropping. So it's very exciting. We've got a reissue of a fan favorite, Lighthouse, that came out probably a month ago, a little longer than a month ago, and that reignited some fires to where we have something special planned for later this summer that we'll be dropping. So we're dropping new music. The Phoenix is burning bright. The band. If fans will know, like, we've always stuck true to our Phoenix, our the symbol that represents my brother and I's band. The Phoenix flies. It is born, and then it flies, it burns, and then it burns down to the ground ashes, and then there's a rebirth. And man, oh man, has the wise Phoenix, stayed true to that cycle. So we're gonna go play a couple shows and have some fun. Life by Music has more events planned for this summer, some summer camps that we're going to do. And we're just going to plan and continue to. We're at a beautiful position, and we have a beautiful opportunity. If we play our cards right and work hard and build the way we're building, to be able to scale our outreach to more cities and scale our outreach even farther into Las Vegas and Reno and the other cities that we're getting to now at this point. So it's
That's
busy.
wonderful.
I find myself, I always, when people are like, oh, you say, hey, how you been? And people are like, oh, I'm busy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You're like, oh, you're just, people are busy. Yeah, okay. You say that as an excuse for why you don't like text back or why this or why that, or like, okay, yeah, you're so busy. We get it. But man, oh man, in the last handful of months, I have learned that there are different levels of busy.
Yeah.
And so to continue to refine our lives, to, you know, not just be busy, but be really effective. That's where I'm at these days, where I want to get more and more effective. And not that you were
Uh,
asking my opinion on how to live, but it's more so,
yeah.
we're getting effective, and it's like, okay, so we're gonna do this tour in June, and we're gonna plan. We're gonna what is the bigger picture? What are the bigger possibilities? And how do we do this and not stress ourselves out? Like dying on the cross or dying on your shield. Like, does it have to be so hard? I don't think it does.
Now,
And
I think that when you get busy, that it helps you fine tune really where you want to pour your energy from or pour your energy to. Um, you find out what really is impactful and meaningful to you, and then everything else is kind of noise, you know.
absolutely, it's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And so,
So, I saw you guys are going to be at the Break the Silence in Colorado. They're one of my sponsors. They're a sponsor for me. And so I'm going to be there
Hawaii is
doing,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, I'm going to do interviews there, hold some space for some people to do their interviews and kind of
Looking forward
interview
to
people about music and why they're there. So I'm excited. So I'll be there.
Great, yeah, and then we could get a whole band interview going. I know my brother would love to talk to you
Oh,
about it because
yeah.
the funny thing about our band, otherwise, there's definitely my brother and I. We are so bonded together, but we definitely have different perspectives on things.
Yeah.
Sometimes one of the brothers is other, and one of the brothers is wise, and then other times that same brother is now the other, and the other brother is wise, and it's a beautiful balance of the two between us. So
Yeah, I'll
we
definitely.
we see the same things, but we definitely tend to see them differently. But we're looking at the same things. So
Yeah. Yeah. No,
we,
we'll definitely do that. That'll be fun. And I'm sure I can get him on here too. I've had him on once when we were just briefly talking, but I haven't gone like super questiony, with him yet on it. But I look forward to it. I'm so excited. I did not even know
oh,
you guys were going to be there when I had connected with her, and I was like, really? That's so crazy because it's such a big time in my life because it's not my comfort zone to be out questioning random people. And I'm like, what am I doing? And I was like, oh, otherwise it's going to be, it's fine.
yeah, yeah, you're gonna do a great job. It's gonna be awesome.
But no, Kelly and I, she is a sponsor for the podcast, and so her and I kind of are trying to continue to create this momentum of holding space for people and just kind of
100%.
making sure that everybody is seen and has time to tell their
Well,
story.
you
So
you got you've got you both have our support because you're both wonderful ladies. Shout out to Kelly Paris for putting together the Break the Silence Festival and everything that's she's about and it's about when she reached out, like, yeah, we'll make that work. Like, let's make it work.
yeah.
Let's figure it out. So,
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Her and I have meetings and kind of talk about the different things we're doing, and I'm going to help with the silent auction. So if there's anybody on here, we're The Authentic Life with Kale is sponsoring the silent auction. So if anybody listening has stuff, they can send it our way too, because we're going to help with that because it's just a mission that needs help. So yeah.
cool, cool. Yep.
Well, I loved having you on. Um, Always a pleasure. I do always end the podcast with this question. because I do focus on mental health and music, is if someone came to you and they were struggling with their mental health, what is some advice that you would give them?
Well, it depends on who it is,
Yeah.
Uh, it really depends. I think I would definitely, I say things, I feel different things for different people, and I
Hmm.
don't mean to be vague or cryptic, but I can think about actual friends and family and moments of different people, coming. Sometimes you don't even realize that it's a cry for help, and it's actually just a really uncomfortable exchange, and or it is a cry for help, and then you go, man, do some push-ups,
Yeah.
let's work out,
Right.
like is your space clean? Like clean up. Other time, other times it's like, okay, we need to go out. We need to go have a good time. Other times is, just sitting there and like doing nothing.
Yeah.
So it comes, therapy and healing and love come, from what I'm experiencing more and more, is it comes in many different forms. And I think I also need to learn more when people do come, just to listen more
Yeah.
and speak less. And,
And
and
that's hard.
sometimes that's the best, but it's really hard though. When you want to help people and they're struggling, when they're in their own cycle, and
Mm.
you're just watching them spin out. It's really tough. But
It is.
trying to hold space, whatever that is. People say, oh, you hold space for them, hold space for them. Well, sometimes holding that space is jumping into the cyclone with them, and
Hmm.
then you don't have the space.
Yeah.
So
No.
being aware that sometimes that's what happens, and so
Yeah.
I guess my answer is that I try to jump in with them a little bit, and then and see if it can work, or it's just like, all right, we got to shake this up, we got to shake this etch a
Yeah.
sketch up, what this picture that's been painted.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm also not the so I don't know if people confide in me a lot. I think when it's time to make a change, or like, let's do something, like, or then I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's get it going. And sometimes it's me who's actually reaching out.
Yeah.
And I am so lucky to have people who care, and they hold space for me, actually. So going
Yeah.
off of how people have helped me, that's probably the better answer, is
Yeah.
that they're just there for me, and whatever it is I'm wanting to do at that moment, they're there for it, whether it's their for first choice or not.
Yeah. No, there's a lot there. You're right. There's a lot of different ways that people can do it. And then I think, well, I'll say a lot like, I'll sit with you in the dark. I'm not going to stay there with you. So you have to have some action. I mean, I'll be with there, for a little bit, but I think as I've aged, probably that I'm okay getting in that cyclone and I'm okay sitting in the dark, but I'm not okay with doing the same thing 500 times in a row. Like if you want out, like you really have to be the one, including myself, like, and we have to be the ones to want to really, um, pull ourselves out because ultimately it is us. But then that comes down to of keeping the people that you have around you really the right people too, and just the overall mental everything, health, mental health, physical health, all those things together. It's just you learn and you grow. But no, those are very, very valid things. And the holding space thing is just like, here's a space. I'll sit with you. But
Yeah.
I can't fix you, but I can be here with you while you try to figure it out. So
I've learned sometimes too, is that sometimes people don't actually want to change, you know, and being able to decipher that, because then it doesn't take so much out of you. If you can kind of balance that seesaw, that balancing act of people, they're good people and they're people that you love, but they really don't want to change. They just want
yeah,
to kind of suck you into their issues,
yeah,
and it's a tough pull of like, yeah, all right, I've got the love to give, I'm going to give it, but then also you can't get sucked into. So Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a class that I'm working on building, because it's some things that, I've been learning as I go through too, that I can't remember the quote exactly, but it was something of, because just because you're not willing to grow or heal doesn't mean that I need to be in prison. Is something of that. Like basically, like I don't have to be with you in prison just because you don't want to get out. And I was like, that's pretty impactful because, even any generational, whatever it may be, we always have people who are going through stuff and you can be there, but you don't have to be in the same prison with them. You can walk along with them. You just don't have to be in that prison. So
That's a very tough piece of wisdom and a lesson that you have to go through,
yeah.
and I've gone through it. I've had my share of it, and it's frustrated me for a long time, but to be able to be liberated from it, then you can understand that, look, I would, if I had to do it again, I'd do it again, but I'd just do it a little bit differently, because then I know what it is to, people are struggling and they want to make a change, but they don't make a change, or yeah, sometimes people are just struggling and they need friendship. It's
Yeah.
not always about, okay, well, do this better and then
Yeah.
things will get better, because sometimes things just can't get better.
Yeah.
And to understand that too, things can't get better at this point, and it's just to be in the valleys with them
Yeah.
is
And sometimes it's not their time to move through as, at the same, I guess, speed as you do. But um, yeah, I think I've learned a lot just as we grow, right? As you have to. So,
yeah,
well, I
definitely.
appreciate you coming on and I can't wait to see you guys. I may see you in Michigan, maybe. Me and Jody are working through that, but I can't wait to see you guys at the festival. So,
Yeah, us too. We're excited. Thank you for having me.
of
I'm
course,
proud of you for doing this and
thank you.
getting out there, getting out of your comfort zone to, help people. And that's what it is when we get on stage too, or we take a tour or I show up to a classroom. I'm like, some of these kids don't, I'm like, oh man, I've played in arenas and you little kids are making me more nervous. So, but that's what it's all about, is getting out the comfort zone. So I'm proud of you for getting out of yours and getting this going. So thanks for having me.
The Authentic Life with KL and Break the Silence are two healing missions aligning to support mental health, all wellness and recovery, offering hope and amplifying the light. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Authentic Life with KL, where we explore the powerful intersection of healing and music. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give a follow and share with your friends. You can find more information about The Authentic Life with KL and Kitty Lynn at kittylynn.com, KITTYLYNNE.com. Thanks so much for listening.